Hey everyone, and welcome to another Deep Dives. Today we're going to be exploring mindfulness. We've got a ton of really interesting material to dig into, like ancient roots, modern science, and all sorts of practical techniques. Basically, we're going to see how mindfulness can help us find a little more balance in our lives. And I mean, let's be real, who couldn't use a little more balance these days, right? Like, ever feel like you're just rushing through the day on autopilot? Maybe mindfulness can help us, hit that pause button and actually connect with what matters.
You know what's really fascinating about mindfulness? It's ancient, but it's also totally cutting edge. I mean, it's rooted in these Eastern traditions that go way back. But now you see it popping up everywhere, right? Like therapy, education, even business and sports. So clearly there's something powerful here, something that speaks to people across different cultures and time periods.
Okay, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
What exactly is mindfulness? Help me out here.
At its core, mindfulness is all about cultivating awareness of the present moment. It's about noticing without judgment your thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, everything. And one of the sources actually had this quote that I thought was perfect. The goal of mindfulness is not to achieve a specific state, but to cultivate awareness and acceptance of the present moment just as it is.
Okay, so it's not about like emptying your mind or forcing yourself to feel a certain way. It's more about just observing what is, right? Like right here, right now. But how do we actually bring mindfulness into our everyday lives? I mean, it's not like we can all just sit on a mountaintop meditating all day.
Exactly, and you don't have to. The cool thing about mindfulness is you can weave it into all sorts of everyday activities. For example, the material talks about mindful eating, like slowing down and actually savoring each bite, paying attention to the textures and flavors of your food. I mean, think about it. How often do we eat and not even really taste anything? It's the same principle with, say, mindful working. Approaching your tasks with focus and calm, even when things get crazy busy. And then there's mindful communication, which is all about being fully present in your interactions with others, both listening and speaking with intention.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. But what about the science behind all this? Our sources mentioned some studies. Do those actually back up all these benefits?
The research is actually pretty amazing. Studies are showing that mindfulness can actually rewire your brain's response to stress, so you become less reactive and more resilient over time. I mean, imagine handling those crazy deadlines with a sense of calm instead of panic. That would be a game changer, right? And it's not just about feeling calmer. There's a growing body of research linking mindfulness to actual improvements in physical health, like lower blood pressure, better sleep, even a stronger immune system.
Wow, okay, I'm impressed. So it's not just a mental thing. There's a real mind-body connection happening here. I'm ready to try this out. Where do I even start? Like, what are some techniques a total beginner can try?
Well, one technique that's super simple but really powerful is just breathing exercises. Just taking a few minutes to focus on your breath can bring a sense of calm and help you reset your attention. Then there's body scan meditation. You lie down or sit comfortably and just systematically bring your attention to different parts of your body, noticing any sensations without judgment. It's great for releasing tension and promoting relaxation. And then there's mindful walking, which is awesome because you can do it anywhere. Pay attention to the feeling of your feet on the ground, the movement of your body, even the sights and sounds around you. It's a really easy way to bring mindfulness into your daily routine.
Those sound great, and I love that they can be integrated into everyday life. But what about people who want to go a bit deeper? Our material mentioned some more advanced techniques, right?
It did. For folks who are looking to deepen their practice, there are things like transcendental meditation, which uses a mantra to quiet the mind, and loving kindness meditation, which focuses on cultivating feelings of compassion and goodwill. We'll definitely delve deeper into those a bit later. But first, I'm curious, have you ever tried any of these mindfulness techniques yourself? What's your experience been?
Yeah, I've played around with some basic meditation apps,
Yeah.
but I haven't really explored those more advanced techniques, like transcendental meditation with the mantras. That sounds kind of intriguing, but I've
Yeah.
always been a little mystified by it. Like, how does just repeating a word actually lead to a deeper state of meditation?
It is pretty fascinating, right? And it's not so much about the actual meaning of the mantra itself. It's more about using it as a tool to focus your attention. So by gently bringing your focus back to the mantra whenever your mind wanders, you're basically training your mind to become less distracted and more settled.
So it's kind of like a mental anchor that helps you stay present.
Exactly. And as you practice transcendental meditation regularly, you start to experience this really profound state of relaxation and inner peace. And the cool thing is that can actually extend beyond your meditation sessions and into your daily life.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. It's like a ripple effect of calm spreading outward. What about loving kindness meditation? What's the approach there?
Loving kindness meditation takes a different approach. It focuses on cultivating feelings of love, compassion, and kindness. So you begin by directing these feelings towards yourself. Then you gradually expand outwards to include others and eventually even all beings.
That sounds beautiful, but honestly, I could be pretty hard on myself. So how do you cultivate loving kindness when your inner critic is running wild?
Yeah, that's a super common challenge. And the key is to start with self-compassion. Recognizing that everyone makes mistakes, including yourself, and that you deserve kindness and understanding just as much as anyone else. You can even use specific phrases during the meditation, like, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be peaceful. Repeating those phrases can really help to shift your mindset towards self-acceptance.
Those are really beautiful phrases. So you start with yourself and then gradually expand outwards. Like, who do you focus on next?
Exactly. You might start by sending loving kindness to someone you care about deeply. Then maybe to a neutral person, like someone you just encounter briefly in your day, and eventually even to someone you find difficult. It's a practice in expanding your capacity for compassion.
Wow, that's powerful. I can see how this practice could really shift your relationships with yourself and others. Okay, so we've got transcendental meditation with its mantra-based approach and loving kindness meditation with its focus on compassion. Are there any other advanced techniques we should explore?
There are. Our sources highlight mindfulness of the breath as another really powerful technique. It basically involves just focusing on the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body. It's a very grounding practice that helps you stay present and cultivate a sense of calm and clarity.
It sounds so simple, but also kind of profound. Actually, it reminds me of those breathing exercises we talked about earlier. Are they related?
You're right, there is a connection there. Breathing exercises can actually act as like a gateway to deeper mindfulness practices like mindfulness of the breath. The key is to approach the practice with intention and a willingness to observe your breath without judgment.
So it's about cultivating that same non-judgmental awareness we've been talking about all along.
Exactly. And as you become more adept at focusing on your breath, you'll find that your mind naturally becomes calmer and more peaceful. It's like training a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes.
This is all so fascinating. I'm really starting to understand the depth and richness of mindfulness. It's not just one thing. It's like a whole toolkit for living a more present and fulfilling life.
And the beauty of mindfulness is that it's an ongoing journey of discovery. There's always something new to learn and explore. It's not about reaching a final destination, but rather about continually cultivating awareness and compassion in our lives.
Well, I'm definitely feeling inspired to dive deeper into my own practice. But we've been talking about all these different techniques, and I think it would be really helpful to bring it down to earth a bit. How can we actually integrate mindfulness into our daily routines, especially in areas where we tend to feel stressed, like the workplace?
That's a great point. Mindfulness isn't just about sitting on a cushion and meditating. It's about bringing that same awareness and intention to every aspect of our lives. And the workplace is a perfect example. It's an environment where we're constantly bombarded with stimuli, demands, and deadlines, which can lead to stress, burnout, and just a general sense of overwhelm.
Absolutely. So how can we bring some of these mindfulness principles into that environment?
Well, there are some really practical ways to incorporate mindfulness into the workday, and we'll explore those in detail in the next segment.
Okay, so mindfulness at work. I think we could all relate to feeling overwhelmed and stressed out sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So how can we actually use these mindfulness principles to actually create a calmer, more focused work environment?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what's really interesting is mindfulness isn't just about individual well-being. It can actually impact workplace culture and productivity too. Our sources actually highlighted several ways to integrate mindfulness right into your workday.
I'm so ready for these tips. What are some of the tactics that people are using?
Well, one really simple but effective technique is just starting your day with a few minutes of mindful breathing or meditation. It can help clear your mind, reduce stress, set a positive tone for the day ahead.
I love that. Just taking a few minutes to center yourself before you dive into the chaos of the day. I can see how that would make a big difference. What else?
Another powerful strategy is to practice what I like to call mindful moments throughout the day. That could involve taking a few deep breaths before you start a challenging task, paying attention to your posture and how your body feels while you're at your desk, or even just taking a short mindful walk during your break.
Those are great tips. It's all about finding those little pockets of mindfulness, right? to kind of hit the reset button.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's mindful communication, which is so essential for building strong relationships and reducing conflict at work. It's about actively listening to your colleagues, speaking with clarity and intention, and being mindful of your nonverbal cues.
Mindful communication.
Hmm?
Okay, I like that. It's about being present and engaged in our interactions, right? Not just like rushing through them on autopilot. I know I'm definitely guilty of that sometimes.
Oh, we all are. It's so easy to do. But when we communicate mindfully, we're creating a more respectful and harmonious work environment for everyone.
This is all making so much sense. But I'm curious, how do we deal with those inevitable workplace stressors? Like when deadlines are looming, projects are piling up, it feels like everything is going wrong. How can mindfulness help us in those moments?
That's actually where the real power of mindfulness comes in. Instead of just reacting impulsively to stress, mindfulness teaches us to pause, to just observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, and then choose a more skillful response.
So it's about creating that space, right, between stimulus and response, that moment of awareness where we can actually choose how we want to react.
Exactly. And that space, even if it's just a few seconds, it can make a world of difference. It allows us to move from a place of reactivity to a place of intention and clarity.
This is really resonating with me. It's like mindfulness gives us the tools to navigate those ups and downs of life, at work and beyond with more grace and resilience.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And the beautiful thing is that these mindfulness practices are available to anyone, regardless of their background, beliefs, or experience level.
I completely agree. Well, this deep dive into mindfulness has been truly eye-opening. We've learned so much about the history, the science, the techniques, really the amazing potential of this ancient practice. It's clearly much more than just like a trendy buzzword.
It really is. And remember, mindfulness is a journey, not a destination. It's about cultivating a way of being in the world that's characterized by presence, awareness, and compassion. And the more we practice, the more naturally those qualities will flow into every aspect of our lives.
So as we wrap up, I'm left with this sense of excitement. You've given us so much to think about. And considering all the incredible benefits of mindfulness for both our mental and physical health, what small step could you, our listener, take today to incorporate mindfulness into your own routine? Maybe it's starting your day with those few minutes of mindful breathing, or taking a mindful walk during your lunch break. Whatever it is, embrace this moment, find peace within, and watch your life transform in beautiful and unexpected ways.
Beautifully said. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into mindfulness. Until next time, be present, be kind to yourself, and keep exploring.